battles have been won against greater odds. I've fought beyond the wall against worse than Ramsay Bolt.
You don't know him.
If I fall, don't bring me back.
Thousands of men don't need to die.
Only one of us.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my episode 9 trailer video, Battle of the Bastards, Bastard Bowl, Snow Bowl, whatever you want to call it. Let's break it down. There's a couple really notable things that are going on here. You may have detected a very Braveheart vibe, wherein Jon Snow, William Wallace's force, is very small, totally outmatched by Ramsay's forces, and I've seen a lot of you real-world history buffs hoping that there's a Battle of Northampton situation, which is basically what happened at the end of Braveheart, where a giant portion of one of the armies made a secret deal to lay down arms and allow the opposing side through. So a lot of people have hoped that part of Ramsay's army will lay down arms and flip sides in the middle of the battle. But if you haven't watched Braveheart in a long time, that happened before the battle started. William Wallace had been on this tear with his army. They had been destroying all the king's centers of powers until this big final battle where the king made a secret deal with part of Wallace's army. They laid down arms, and that's ultimately what led to Wallace's downfall. So you basically wound up with this giant imbalance between the size of both armies. Like, look at Ramsay's army here. This looks like a much more traditional formation. You have rows of archers, you have pikemen, you have mounted soldiers. Just look how deep they are. And then you look at Jon Snow's army, like you see one here running through the foreground. They have some of the wildlings, they have a handful of the Mormonts, and it's really hard to pick out which banners exactly these are because the TV show has swapped some of the colors on some of the other houses' banners, so we'll just have to wait for the episode to get better shots of all these. But using the TV show's logic behind mass transit, I think we can assume that in the episodes that we haven't seen Jon Snow and Sansa, that a few more people from other houses in the north had joined the army, but it's still just a handful of people compared to what Ramsay has. So I think the show wants you to believe that it's a Braveheart situation, and we all know how that ended. Jon Snow even tells Melisandre, if I fall in battle, don't bring me back again. So they're teasing you with this Braveheart situation when Sansa has gone behind Jon Snow's back to send Littlefinger a letter. I know it wasn't very clear who she was writing to, but there have been people who have decoded part of Sansa's letter. She's basically telling Littlefinger, okay, you're trash, but I need your help anyway. So given how melancholy everyone looks on this battlefield, all these dead bodies all over the place, I think it's going to be an 11th hour Littlefinger save. But you guys can let me know, do you think that Sansa wrote to Littlefinger, that was the secret letter, because she wasn't writing to the Blackfish? She had already sent Brienne to get the Blackfish's help before she sent the other letter in the more recent episode. So the person she was writing to was different from the Blackfish. So given that, do you think that she was asking for Littlefinger's help and they'll come riding in just in time to save our precious main characters, but not before a ton of people end up dying? And I know a lot of you have wondered if in the background some of these figures are the Night's King or White Walkers, if they're going to walk in and interrupt the battle. I'm not expecting that twist because I think we'll follow up with them with Bran's storyline. So unless we see Bran in this episode, I'm not expecting to see White Walkers south of the Wall. I think the surprise is going to be the Knights of the Vale. But the other big question, because there isn't any other footage besides this Battle of the Bastards in the trailer, is will we see Daenerys in the second siege of Meereen, or are they going to save that for the last episode? Even though Hardhome was a massive episode last season, they still touched on a couple other storylines, even though they spent most of the episode up at Hardhome. So I think that might be the case here, where most of the episode takes place at the Battle of Winterfell, but they briefly touch on the other storylines. So even if we don't get to see Daenerys release the other two dragons till episode 10, I think they'll at least briefly touch on that storyline. And then we also have Cersei in the promise of a Mad Queen situation with Wildfire. So if they don't touch on that, then they'll be saving that for episode 10. But I love how we've all been joking about Daenerys Mad Queen when we should really be talking about Cersei Mad Queen, even though technically she's the Queen Mother. But here's my other big question for you guys. Let me know, do you feel like it's going to be Snow Bowl episode 9 and then it's going to be Fire in episode 10? because we have Cersei Wildfire that might be happening, and we have Daenerys' dragons versus the Great Masters. So there are a couple big battles, some of them involving fire, some of them taking place in the frozen north. But that's to say nothing of what Bran is going to do when the Night's King's army reaches the wall. That's like a completely separate situation than from what's going on here at Winterfell. So be prepared for them to touch on that briefly. But there's just so many things that they have to resolve that I'll be interested to see what they leave out of episode 9, because there are at least 3 big battles coming to a head, 4 if you count Bran versus the Night's King. But my next big video is going to be my Q&A from episode 8. I'm happy to answer questions about episode 9 too. Just leave all your questions on this. There is a new round of the giveaway that's still going on. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. I'll just announce the winner whenever I post that Q&A video. So that'll either be Tuesday or Wednesday. I feel like if you thought episode 8 was lackluster, this is the answer to that. Just pitch battle for an entire episode. It's going to be so much fun. While you guys wait for my next video to post, you can click here for last night's episode 8 video, and you can click here for a Tower of Joy, R plus L equals J refresher if you guys don't know what that's all about. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.